just selected like.
Report from the Union County Chamber of Tourism and Promotion, and I'm going to turn it over to Sajid.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for your time.
Good evening.
Good evening. Well, it's still not good afternoon.
Wasn't morning though.
It's still afternoon for 1 minute. Wow, second word, I already screwed up.
I was looking at the clock. You're all right.
I know.
That says 89, that says 101 and 601.
Well, I'm excited to walk through the tourism program work for 2026-2027 fiscal year and share some of the results we've seen for the past year and where we're heading next. You can change the slide. So for 2025, before we jump in, I want to take a moment to reflect on what we've accomplished for 2025-2026 fiscal year, and so we can all get a sense of foundation for the next year. Over this last year, we made some meaningful progress across both marketing and tourism efforts. We've completed a full SEO refresh for the site, which gives not only improved visibility, but also user experience much stronger for people who are actively planning trips to Union County. And I'll go through all the data and numbers as well for all these top level points in a few other slides. We've also built a strong foundation with CrowdRift, which has allowed us to start consistently developing high quality visual content that we can use across all of our digital programs. We've stayed in partnerships with EOVA, Travel Oregon, OSAA, EOU, MIRA, and the Eastern Oregon Film Festival. We also expanded our distribution for print visitor materials while maintaining a strong balance between print and digital marketing. And on top of that, we've launched co-op marketing initiatives, led development efforts with our partners at EOVA, with Hells Canyon Tourism website, and continued support with high impact events that occur in Union County. Overall, we made a big push to strengthen our destination storytelling, especially across digital channels, to better showcase what makes Union County unique. So over this past year, we've built a really strong foundation, and moving into 2027, the focus shifts from building to refining to improving efficiencies and getting even more impact out of the work we've already put in. And I'll pause there for any questions. You can see right here, those are my main talking points. You can see them on your slides as well, the printed copies. But those are just some icons of our local events, and next year we'll have the Thunder at the Peak and one or two other events that we'll be partnering with. So we'll expand those as well. All right, next slide. So before we get to talking about all the digital success and measurements and impacts, we want to say and describe to the team here how we actually measure digital success. Last year, we spent time defining what success looks like. And now this year, we're going to focus on how we're using that data. We're tracking performance across key areas, everything from website traffic, engagement, to digital campaign performance, to how our content is performing across social media platforms. We're also looking at more direct tourism indicators, things like overnight stays, lodging trends, and how events are contributing to visitation throughout the year. But the most important piece is how we're going to be using that information. This isn't just about reporting for the sake of reporting. It's about actively guiding how we allocate the budget, how we adjust campaigns in real time, and how we see opportunities to grow. Next slide. That's all good. These are some of our key tourism pillars for in Union County. I'm sure all of you will kind of already have a gist of what we have to offer here. Outdoor rec, events and festivals, arts, culture and history, agritourism and local experiences, And overall, we have a 4-season approach that applies to all communities across Union County. And we're really hoping to shoulder or expand shoulder season opportunities based on, we have a summer term, which is we have everything done and we're getting great numbers, but during the winter we can see a dramatic decrease in users. And so it's not only making sure that we're optimizing what's already been good and built, but also looking at what can be improved during those off-season shoulder season opportunities. Next slide. So this is from EOVA, and we can see here the year-over-year growth for revenue trend, average daily rate, so on, and it's particular to. There might be a little rearranging in this presentation. You'll see the slide three pages afterwards. This is across Eastern Oregon, and it's pretty significant. I think part of this growth is due to more communities on the West Coast traveling to more rural communities. When you compare this to some of the other regions in Oregon, where we're dramatically, year-over-year percent change in growth, much better than those, seeing that there's been a lot of push to rural communities away from bigger cities. And so we can see that in our numbers here as well.
So this is just the last year, 2025, and like January would be on the left, December on the right.
This would be 2024 versus 2025. So January to December 2024. And then the arrow, the blue arrow on the top left, you can see 122 million, and then it goes up 4%. That's the year-over-year comparison. So,
but it doesn't show, the line shows 24 or 25.
It doesn't, it shows 25.
Okay.
It shows 25, and then the comparison is that percentage change right there. And so it's a lot of numbers to look at. So I'll pause to see if you have any questions, but it's all pretty straightforward when it comes to EOVA. It's a very broad picture of how the market is in Eastern Oregon, which is a big part of the state. So we'll dive into Union County specifically here soon. But here is a top level view of Eastern Oregon.
But when it says room rate supply, why is it going up and down?
Room rate supply is dependent on seasonality. And so I imagine that would be, February after Christmas, it just drops.
Oh, but the supply would be there. I mean, if the rooms would be there. I guess I was thinking of supply, meaning the rooms, there isn't rooms available at those times.
How many rooms we have?
Yeah, they wouldn't change. They'd still be the same amount of rooms available.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I'll have to look into that specifically to make sure, because room night supply.
So part of that is you've had a couple of hotels in the region that have been under renovation.
Oh.
So those have been taken out of supply.
Okay.
And this also accounts for vacation rentals, which are sometimes seasonal. So they're only, like if you go to Wallowa, those are rentals in the winter and vacation rentals.
That makes sense. Okay, thank you.
So.
Yeah, great question. And the next slides will actually be diving in a little closer to those Airbnb type vacation rentals. Yeah, let's do it. So here's short-term vacation rental for 2025 compared to 2024. And you can see we are the highest in the state for year-over-year supply and demand growth. And that's something that I alluded to earlier with, when we look at the numbers for different regions, we're really doing, we have a smaller demand, we have a smaller supply, but at the same time, the change in percent is really what I like to key in on to say we have experienced growth. And that sort of growth is what gets us to hopefully we'll be at Mount Hood in the Gorge area on this report in 2-3 years instead of all the way at the bottom for Eastern Oregon.
We can't.
Not in my opinion.
No,
No, because I think short-term rentals take away from our permanent people. It pulls those off of the market, and we've restricted that to a point.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's good for tourism, but bad for people who live here. It
It's true,
drives
yeah.
up rents
Drives up housing
and
costs.
makes housing scarce.
It's nice.
But growth would also, because they're not rented all the time, so even if we have a certain amount, like if the
Yeah,
amount we have increases, then we're showing tourism.
yeah, I mean,
I
it's good
agree
for
100%
tourism.
that
Yeah,
it's not all positive when,
No,
when
it's rough
those
for people trying to
go
find a
up.
place to live.
I mean, I'm in that boat as well. So,
You know it.
next slide. So here's the statewide regional occupancy and revenue rate, which we also were the highest in revenue growth, over 12.5% year over year, which is pretty dramatic. Usually we don't see, you know, a 2-digit year-over-year percent change, and that has to do with people wanting to visit rural communities more often. And then also our tourism efforts as well.
Sorry. Does anybody complain about the rate of rooms here?
I mean, no one's complained to me personally, but I'm sure that the increase in, you know, in inflation and plus how the market's changing, the rates are always going to just keep going up, I imagine. And so I haven't personally heard any feedback that the
We do a
Airbnb rates.
graduation.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Oh,
that-
yeah.
That might help the
Cause a
percentage there.
$150 room is like $325.
Right, so that might
Surge
help the
pricing
percentage
style, I
there,
imagine,
but it doesn't help for people wanting to come in and stay at that rate.
Correct. Yeah.
That's
Well,
true.
We do have, I would say, the RV park, which I feel like if we were able to get data from that to see how many people are going and staying at the RV park, that would be a great opportunity to see, you know, how that correlates with other
That would
talking
be,
points.
that would be, because I think a lot of people are out there they're more permanent people out there than there used to be.
But at Hot Lake,
That's pretty,
more seasonal.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
But the one down on the island,
Yeah.
that one, I think there's a lot of people who live there
People, yeah.
permanently.
They have a big session though too, it's for overnighters. I
Well,
know,
yeah,
yeah.
they probably would, they would want to anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know how they define Eastern Oregon here? I imagine this is inclusive of Hermiston and Ontario, and so these numbers could be dramatically shifted by those two areas that really, frankly, would not be relevant to our small community.
Yep, absolutely. These are the EOVA's numbers that I pulled. We'll be looking at Union County specific here in a moment. I just wanted to give you a big picture on how we land. So when it comes to our relationship with Travel Oregon, you know, there's Travel Pendleton, but with that still encompasses EOVA, even though Pendleton does have much larger tourism market because of their rodeo. But it encompasses pretty much the entire east side of the state. So it's around 11 counties. All of those are in these numbers. And Union County ranks, I would say, like 3rd or 4th on that list. And so that's something that I talked about with Elena from EOVA. And unfortunately, this is part of the problem with Eastern Oregon and Travel Oregon, is Eastern Oregon's Visitors Association gets much less funding than Travel Portland. And then, you know, a lot of the stuff on the west side. And that's reflective of the numbers that we see here. And it's also reflective of percent and change, because obviously if we had such bigger numbers, it would be harder for us to get a 12% increase. That would just be a very dramatic if we're looking at, you know, almost $1 billion, but we're at 21 million. And so it's a small stride, but it's in the right direction. And one of the issues is that Travel Oregon sort of considers Eastern Oregon Visitors Association like the lowest on the ladder, so to speak, which is realistic and, you know, reasonable. But they have a limited amount of funding. And so when you get to these bullet points or these data points, you really have to drill down. You can't reference Travel Oregon or for data because they don't drill down as much. We have to create our own, which is something that I was able to accomplish, and it's on the next few slides here. And before we go, is there any other questions in regards to short-term vacation rentals performance? Okay. So this just gives us into a great understanding of here's our opportunity. We're positioned to capture additional visitation. We want to increase the length of stay during on-season and off-season rates for people in tourism to come and visit. And Union County's, we're really in a high growth potential market. So that percent and change, we're hoping to continue moving forward and bumping up each year by year. Next slide. So now we get to look, and this is something I'm gonna, you know, tap myself on the shoulder for. I was able to drill down to just Union County's lodging performance with Travel Oregon's provided data, and I was able to build that Looker Studio report that is in your packet as well. But if we click on to the link, would we be able to pull it up? There's the printed version, and then there's this digital version, which will update every 2 months. Essentially, we get the data 2 months after it's done. And so you can see here all the way back from 2018 or 2019.
Yeah.
We actually do have 2018's data, but it was a little too much to fit on the graph. So I figured 19 would be a good ballpark. But if there's any edits that you all want to make to this, it's a great opportunity. You know, you can shoot me an email. Everyone should have this information, and it's going to be updated every 2 months. So everyone has this link, excuse me, in the slide share deck that we share digitally. The link's available there, and it's going to be updated every 2 months. That's something the chamber is going to be taking over. And I recently talked to UOVA about this too, and they're interested in having this report be used for the other counties too, seeing that Travel Oregon doesn't provide the resources that we would like to see for the exact number per month of what Union County specific is marking as.
Tell me how this data is calculated, or
Sorry.
tell me how this data is calculated.
So Travel Oregon has they have a system in place where it tracks credit card uses. It also is voluntary. If the hotel provides that data to Travel Oregon, then it's good, but they're not required to. So it's voluntarily. What's the word I'm looking for? Voluntarily submitted.
Participation.
Yeah, and a lot of these, when it comes to at least the credit card and revenue and the available daily rate, those things are calculated in broader terms, and so they do have some credit card history as well that they can associate with those things. But it just depends on where your credit card zip code's being used and if it's associated with.
So this is going to be hotels only
This is hotels and Airbnbs.
and Airbnbs.
Yes.
Do we have an idea of what the participation rate is in that for Union County?
That's a great question.
To me, I'm always after what's the integrity of the data.
Absolutely.
Is this like 2 hotel chains in all of Union County, and that's what we're seeing here? Then throw it in the dustbin. It doesn't matter, right? That's really not going to be representative. So it would be nice to know, again, what the integrity of the data set is if we're going to be looking at these numbers, to know, can we actually make projections off of this, or pat ourselves on the back or
Fine
not?
tune.
Right. Yeah.
So just would be curious as you have a chance to dig into that, to
And that's
find out
something-
what.
I think, by looking at the listing nights available, we could get an idea of scope. Because if we have a 50-room hotel, obviously we don't have 2 of those if we have 2,600 listing nights available. But yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I will double check. EOVA and Travel Oregon do a great job. This data set that I pulled this from is what Travel Oregon uses as their standard benchmark to say how things are going. And so I will confirm with them to see if we need an accurate head count to say how many hotels Airbnbs are actually submitting their information.
And if we have hotels who are not participating, maybe approaching them and say, look, we can help you if you help us with data, but we can't help you if we don't know what your need is.
That actually really surprises me. I wouldn't think we have 3,000 available rooms.
But
Well, that's in a
Over
month.
a year, right?
That's
in
For
a year.
month.
That's a month.
That's a month.
A month.
So realistically, I guess if you did
Divide
have
that
a
on-
50 night or a 50-room hotel times 30 days, you got 1,500 or 150, right?
So are you counting like
You
the
divide it by 30
short-term
to get
rooms
per
in
day.
each of those, like there's
That's
like
not
there's 1 and
right,
4
though.
rooms, you're counting those as rooms as well? Oh, okay. That might make more
But if you
sense
count
then.
times 30 for the month, that would be low then,
Yeah.
probably.
Yep.
So that means that's not all the hotels listed.
Right, and that's what I'm
Hotels
saying
are
is, it'd be nice to have eyes on that, to be able to say, yeah, if we're gonna use this data and reference it in the future, you wanna ensure that it's gonna be meaningful.
Accurate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll drill down. I'll make sure that that's an action item.
Okay,
And
great.
so, and this is something, what's great about it, it's real time. So every 2 months you'll be able to reference it. And then,
Yeah.
here, I would say within a month or 2, I will be able to confirm
Cool.
whether how far down this is accurate. It's a great question. This is what, like I said, Travel Oregon uses. And so I defaulted into, assuming that this would be the precise data set. And it is at this point, the best data set that we do have. Making sure that we have everyone listed and who's participating is the next step that we'll be able to do. Yeah. But if you scroll down a little bit more, you can see, it's a great story to tell. We really have been, I don't want to say we're killing it, but we've been dominating like this market. We've increased from what 2009 was to 2019, to all the way to our peak season in September 2025. I think it's over $300,000 versus January 2029, which was less than 100. Obviously there's inflation to consider, but at the same time, it's something that we really could present and say, hey, this is something that is a key point and data set to show significant growth over time.
So listing night is just a room that's available? Is that
Correct.
how to interpret that? Okay. So that
Airbnbs,
shows that we
hotels.
really have increased in the availability over time, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
The revenue, I'd be curious to see how that tracks just with inflation.
Yeah, I think
Is this a higher spend, a higher dollar amount, because rates are going up? Or is it, no, we're actually attracting more valuable tourists to town who are also more likely to put those dollars into the community in other ways?
I could absolutely build a report or a little chart that says adjusted for inflation and then put that on. Yeah.
I do like that we have 19 because, 20 through 22 are going
Yes.
to be
Right,
pretty
COVID.
skewed, but
Yes.
Yeah.
looking at 19 compared to now, I think is a pretty good way to actually look at a difference there without using COVID.
Yeah. I mean, this is
Terrible
cool. This is in my time on the council. This is the best presentation of data that I think I've seen on this. And we've asked for this sort of thing in the past. Like, can we get into the numbers? So I mean, I love the direction that we're seeing here. That's what we should be using, right? I mean, we should be leveraging large data sets in making these decisions, and then really going after what brings somebody into Union County? I think that's the question that I have yet to see. And that's a hard thing to track, right? I mean, you can survey, that's a squishy number.
Yeah.
But that's really what we want to know, right? Is we're talking about how do we promote tourism? What makes somebody want to come to Eastern Oregon? And what makes them want to spend money here? And then hopefully come back here and decide they want to bring their family here and live and refer friends and all of that. But
Yeah, it's a tough. There is a Travel Oregon, and this is something that I'll add into this report as well. So, like I said, real time, you guys can view it whenever you'd like. But there is a report in Travel Oregon that makes estimations on how much people are spending based on trends that they collect, and so we are able to see at a county level the estimation of this person's going to spend potentially this much money. And then based on the larger market. But that's, again, unfortunately, it's Eastern Oregon. And I should say they do have the data for Union County, but it takes a fair amount of time to go and drill down and make sure that we're collecting it all and organizing it correctly. But those are all things that, it's a living report, meaning I don't expect it to look this way, in 2 months. And I hope to increase the amount of data that we have and the accuracy of it.
yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
I have a question. Okay, like David was talking about, we really want to know what is bringing people here to LeGrand. And I know when I go to a hotel, they go, oh, what brings you here? Business or,
Right.
Whatever. I mean, that's something that I don't know if we could request our hotels or our places to ask and that, but I know I always share that information when I travel somewhere. And I mean, that way we could really pinpoint if that could happen, really what is truly bringing people here.
I worry too, so much of this is based off of hotels, but I don't go to hotels anymore. I'm going to an Airbnb.
Yeah, you have a
I'm
big
going,
family,
and especially with my family, we're a larger
Yeah.
family, so I have to pick either paying 2 hotel room rates.
Yeah, with no
Because
laundry and
It's max of 6. I
kitchen.
got a family
Yeah.
of 7. I mean,
Yeah.
do math, but that's crazy, right?
Right.
So we always go Airbnb, but frankly, it's a nicer experience
It is.
a lot of the time anyway. And so I do think it does skew some of this a little way and harder to track. You're disseminated. It's a private market.
Right.
These are people who are less likely to be less forthcoming with the data. They're worried about
Losing that
regulations and other things and who
Taxes,
wants
yep.
to see this and
But they have
Exactly.
cards to fill
Right.
out in the Airbnbs, because we've always filled out those cards when we travel with the family, but when it's just Ken and I, we do a hotel. They have those sign-in books, and then they have, why you were here too.
But do they share that information?
Well, that's
That's
what we could
important.
maybe,
We can
maybe
solicit
see
to
if we
see if it's a
can.
possibility, and it can even be in like a package of brochures and magazines that's like, here's LeGrand or Union County plus a survey, and then that'll be like a foot in the door. And we've already
Yeah.
got, I think, 3 or 4 Airbnbs in the past year to be chamber members, but it's a harder sell because they already have the Airbnb platform and an app that shows you everything. So
Right.
the value Chamber brings is sort of it's
Yeah.
not as easy. But that said, we are getting participation from some Airbnbs, and yeah, I'll see if we can get some sort of survey there. And I the more I think about this, I feel like it's been done before, and so this might be something that we could not rebuild the wheel and use, and like I'm sure bigger counties have used something like this before, and so we can look into that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we make a lot of assumptions as to what brings somebody into cities, but I don't know that those assumptions are based off of any tangible information that we've gathered.
It's tough. A lot of the work that we do promotes outdoor rec activities, and so those are all free. And there's something that, now that we're all in the same room, if we were to get one of those tubes that track how many cars go to Mira, or tubes that track how many cars are going to Anthony Lakes, that would be a great tool to resource. I don't know if that's a possibility. I heard it was really expensive, and then that's when I was like, oh, I thought it was just like a tube for the computer. But no, it's a little more complicated than that. And so that's something that, I'd love if that conversation could take place. So in a year from now or whenever we can get those, that would be a hard point. There are also the parking permits for Mira that I will make sure that we get that in.
Data will be, so the data from last year is available, but it was not mandated last year to have a parking permit. But this year will be the first year that that parking program will actually be necessary.
Okay.
Not that everybody's going to buy one, because they're not. They're going to go up there and hope to not get a ticket like they do on Main Street. But so that'll be good data to have.
Okay.
I know in 2023, independent group did a 2-month survey and then used national park figures, and it was estimated that we had over 32,000 visits to Mira in that calendar year. That's not, obviously, a lot of those are going to be people that go up 4 or 5 days a week that live here, but a portion of that are people traveling in from out of town. So.
Wow.
Visitors, not cars, but actual. I think national parks say 2.3 people per vehicle is what they average at a national park, and so if you apply that same data to the cars.
I was going to ask if
It's
you've
an
ever
estimate.
visited with our antique stores. They seem to always get the visitors, and they ask them, why are you here? Because at least when I've talked to Craig down at Craig's, he's always telling me, half my people come, they stop by, they're out of town people that shop there. So I just think that might be a good, if you haven't talked to Craig, you should.
I have spoken to Craig, yes, yeah.
And
But not about this.
well, I don't know how you got away from him. It is hard to get away.
He's a great guy.
He
Yeah.
is a good guy.
What else in regards to Union County's lodging performance? And so these next few slides.
For me to close this.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. We really drilled down in this conversation by just looking at the report. And so we don't have to go through these next 3 slides, really. These are just repeating what we already talked about, which is, we're seeing an increase and we're seeing seasonality and we're seeing stability.
Yeah.
So here is one of the main reasons why I was brought on as the executive director with my digital marketing experience. I was also a data analyst, which is why some of this work that I can do in-house is really fun. And it really does help. I'm a really data-driven person, and so if there's no numbers behind it, it's just feelings, and that doesn't do the trick. And so these digital marketing efforts are pretty spectacular. I don't think I've ever seen something. I've had a project that was at such a. I don't want to say I've done startup work and I've worked with multi-million-dollar conglomerations, but we're some in between somewhere here and there where it's like we have everything built, it wasn't optimized, and so I was able to use the long-standing content and effort that our previous executive directors and previous staff have worked on throughout however many years that we've had a website and a Facebook and an Instagram, and build on that to show these great, amazing numbers. 105% active users, that's great. It's one of my best selling points to when people ask why they need to be in the Chamber of Commerce. I say we have an active website. We have people going there. We have people looking things up. They're still Googling it, but once they Google it, our chamber shows up. So Google Analytics is all of our website data. Google Search is all of our Search Console data, so what people are looking at when they Google things. Facebook, you all know Facebook, Instagram, And next year there might even be an AI slot for like all the AI chatbots, because that's the new where the market's going. And so we'll be able to see how many AI bots are telling us or directing people to either our website. And we're really hoping to drill down on TikTok as well. We're a little, we have a little catching up to do with our staff, and so TikTok is not here right now, but that's going to be back on the table this year as well. Yeah, and I think it's just I pat myself on the back for this one as well, because these numbers are not easy to get. And this time next year, we're not going to see 105% active users. We're probably going to see 10 to 15. And that's usually the benchmark to say success. And 85% in page views, that's a pretty astronomical change in percent. And so, this is a year where we really built a lot of momentum and strength. And then moving forward, we'll still continue, but it won't be such a massive jump, because a lot of the work that I've done is built in place and will stick around. So,
have we considered the benefit of attracting some influencers here?
We have, yes. That's another. So we were actually in the budget item. It's not influencers, but it's for podcasts. So essentially getting our ads onto those spaces. As far as influencers, that's something that we haven't, like podcasts would be the main correlation that I can think of conversations that happened before. As far as influencers, that's a little, I would have to look that up and see. I heard they're really expensive is the crux though. For really expensive for a little bit of benefit. And they're always creating more content. And so it's for brand recognition, it's great. For tourism, I'm kind of shy of saying maybe we shouldn't hire influencers because of the money that we have. If we had a bigger budget and we had a lot to spend, all of the stuff that we're looking at is built in-house. We didn't pay for any of this. These are not paid media efforts. That would be a big paid media effort that I think would be a good idea. Maybe let's give it a little more time to get our TikTok account set up, our AI reporting system set up in place before we start, and then in those situations, it would really be like a year or two, we'd have 2 influencers that would be fairly expensive compared to our budget. It would take up a big chunk of change. But that I think is a great idea once we really make sure that all of these digital platforms are aligned.
You could be the influencer.
Well, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Nobody listens to me. A challenge that we gave one of your predecessors a few years back, as we looked through the budget, we were spending gobs and gobs of money on print materials. And I asked the simple question, what's the ROI on that? And it's nobody knows.
Yeah.
And so, my challenge was that we need to quantify the ROI, especially for an organization like this that has very limited dollars. You've got to decide where you want to slice that pie. And so, if it turns out that the ROI on an influencer is 10 times what the same amount would be if we spent it on print ads, then that's the right way to go. If print ads is better, then that's right. The nice thing about this is so much of this is very low cost. And so it doesn't take much to get a pretty nice return on low cost investment. And I think this is par for the course now. This is table stakes because this is how people are consuming their information. Very few of us go, it's not like it used to be where you drove into town, the first thing you did was stop by the chamber and pick up a handful of pamphlets, out of the rack. You take all of them and you'd chuck them away at the end of the trip and wouldn't read half of them. But it's a different world. We're omni-channel and people expect to be approached in the avenues where they consume.
Right. Yep.
And so
you got to meet them where they're at.
Yeah, I absolutely commend you on getting this up to speed because we were dreadfully behind, in my opinion, in the past. We did not ride that early wave of social media, which is tragic because small towns who did it seemed to pay off. The ones that were involved recreationally. So anyway, but yeah, I don't know if you have information on that, but I'm always looking for how do we decide how to parse the funds, and do we have information on what it actually amounts to, right? We spend $1 here, how many visits do we get for that? That's hard to capture, but any piece of information we have there guides what we do the next year around.
It is interesting. You and I are probably similar age range. Sajin and I have had that conversation, and I've had it with past directors too about the print to digital media. And sometimes I'm a little eye open though, because I think in 10 years it's going to be way different than it is right now. But like how many, we have like 200 people calling the chamber a month requesting paper visitor packets. I mean, it's not, we're not to the point yet
It's
where
not
I think,
obsolete yet.
yeah, it's not obsolete yet. I think there's still a need for it.
Yeah.
In my brain, I don't see the need.
Yeah, but if they're requesting it,
Right.
then the likelihood
What's the
they're
age
going
group that's
to
commonly
be-
asking for it?
I mean, I could make an assumption. He
Yeah.
answers the phone, but
No, they're usually older
Yeah.
folks.
Yes, that's what it is.
I don't
That's
think I've
way-
ever
Which are
been
the
approached by
people that
someone
are
under
having the
35.
time to travel
Yeah.
and
Right.
vacation
And
and visit.
like I said, I think in 10 years, that's as you know, that next generation moves into that age range,
Right.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
and or my generation moves into that age
No,
range.
I
I
agree
think
with
it's
you, but
good.
I think
Technology.
I can speak for the older bit. We look at paper. We do like it.
But-
We
And they're
like it.
frustrated that there isn't more of them.
Oh, yeah.
Right, sometimes,
I
'cause
hear it
that's
from
what
my
you
dad
want.
every day.
You know, for every one of those though, you know, you got a thing sitting in a truck stop and a single QR code
Yeah.
Right.
just replaced
Yeah.
1,000 print
But
pamphlets.
you don't understand how many people do not know how to use them.
That's right.
And
And
people
QR
are mad at
codes.
the idea of even
Yeah.
having to
Having
learn
to
to
use
use
Yes,
it.
oh, I hear it every day. I hear somebody saying, well, I will say, because we go to car shows,
Yeah.
and those people are older, and they say, oh, this stupid thing, I can't get in there to register or something because they don't want to, they don't know how to use it. They
That's
don't
right.
want to use it.
I
And then
think
sometimes it doesn't work.
I think from my perspective too, it is important that we have some print
Yes,
media,
right.
but we focus, we do less quantity, more quantity, or sorry, less quantity, more quality. So really this year, I think, or at least my plan is to just focus on two: the welcome packet, the welcome guide that goes out to everyone moving in here, or anyone who requests information about Union County that would like to learn about moving here, and then the Eastern Oregon Visitors Guide, which goes out to their distribution. We partner, which is great because we co-op. There's also going to be other counties in there as well. But that said, it's one of the main. If someone asks about Union County, I'll be able to give them this and be like, it's pages 15 to 20. That's us right there, and that way we don't have a bunch of different distribution outlines that add up over time. But what's the word I'm looking for? We'll spend less on brochures, but have this one source of truth. And then, yeah, I'll see if I can get back to what I was thinking about a second ago. But you had a question?
No, I just, the revenue generating person in me had an idea, and then I was like, I don't need to put that in.
For advertisements?
No, what I was going to say was, rather than you guys printing them, why not tell them where they can go and pay somebody to print it for them, versus it being a cost for you guys to incur.
I did make a push for us to, whenever we're on a call and someone asks, you can just go to our website, click on this link, and it'll open up a brochure for you.
Mhm.
And that way we can also track their it's as terrible as this. We can track their general location. We can track, what browser they're using. We can track all these things, how often they're visiting it. And I think that's a push in the right direction. But that said, print media is still, I feel like, we all agree here. There's still some consumption there. So
Well,
Right.
if you think about it, back when I was driving, taking kids to sporting events, it's always MapQuest. You get the MapQuest. Now you just Google where you're going.
Yeah,
and
I
it
still
comes
I
up.
don't even know
Printing
if
it
MapQuest
out.
exists anymore.
Exactly. So there's
Yeah.
exactly.
I think you can still do
But I'm just saying, like you're saying, the people trying to do the QR codes and things like that, there is that mindset of people, and
Yeah,
then there's
there
people
is.
that may have that, and it's like, I don't want to do it like that. I'd rather have it on paper.
I know.
Yeah.
And they happen to have the discretionary funds to travel and to do things.
They do.
And that's part of the key.
Yeah.
I mean, we
You
get
want
calls.
to capture that.
Yeah, we get the calls and say, well, how do I register? Go to our website. I don't know how to do that.
I've had to walk through like half an hour of conversation.
I thought everybody knew how to do
Sometimes
that.
help
but
someone
they don't.
What's a
Walk
website?
So you
There's
open
still
Google
people that
Chrome.
don't, yeah.
You saw it.
All right, shall we jump to the next slide? So these are the ones that were not in your original packet, so I left a piece of paper on all of your counters
Okay, right.
that showcases. It might look a little confusing because the 780 and the 692 are just for quarter one, fiscal year, quarter one, 2, and 3. And
Oh,
this
gotcha.
quarter 4 is our best season, and so we're gonna get those numbers up to maybe 13, 14 for the in-person walk-ins and phone calls. And then on the right there is our projected number. And the idea is to continue growing. And that should be, in 2030, that should be 2,000.
That's a lot.
It is, yeah. And we're seeing a lot of people that, and these conversations I have at the visitor center, they're always, they're people that are excited to visit this community, and they're very like, where can I spend my money? What's the niche? So I don't want to go to Taco Bell or McDonald's. I want to find the local cuisine that I can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an idea of that. And then we can go to the next slide. So this is the tourism landscape for just general United States. We're exceeded to, they're planning on spending, tourists are planning on spending $1.4 trillion in 2026 in the United States. 80 to 90% of Americans traveling the next 6 months. Overall, we're in a great position to soak in that people coming to your rural communities atmosphere that we're in right now, and take advantage of people staying longer, getting more food, and we're going to be leveraging digital marketing and traditional marketing channels to promote new county. Next slide. And this is a top-level approach. In your print magazine, you'll see, or print version, you'll see CrowdRift as content-driven, but I've removed that for this right now. And I just wanted to outline, here's our strategy moving forward. We have seasonal campaigns. We're going to be focused on storytelling, and we're going to be really leveraging our digital assets first. And so now we can get into the numbers. So the next slide here is going to be the blue large PDF. Yeah, if you click on that, it should open up. Oh, I forgot to give you access. It's okay. You'll have the printed version right there, and we'll be able to use that. And I have a printed version as well. And you can go to the next slide, and we can talk through the major changes. It's this blue one, this big blue piece of paper, yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about the changes on that big blue piece of paper in the next 3 slides. There were some smaller changes here and there for them, but these are the larger ones. And so before COVID, there was a larger amount of TRT funding going, or I should say during COVID, the funding for TRT, we weren't able to spend at the chamber. This wasn't my time here. And so the funds started to accumulate, and we weren't able to spend it. And so the city decided that, hey, we're going to cut down your budget. So that way, it just makes sense that you're not spending the money. People aren't visiting. Tourism is out the window. And so it was lowered. And so this year we're going to ask to go back to our normal standing. And so we're asking for $125,000 versus what you gave us last year, which was $150,000. And the next.
And the year previous was 118, right? So it was, yeah.
Next slide. So marketing firm and content creation. This is that project I was talking to you about earlier, where we had outsourced our content creation to a company called CrowdRift. And this year we're not going to be outsourcing. We're going to be doing a lot of it in the house. And something I had the conversation with CrowdRift of, it's like, why are you not continuing our services? Well, there's only a handful of things and events that we could record and do in La Grande, and we did those things. Yeah, we still have maybe like a dozen or so things that we could have done that we didn't do. But that is something we can do in-house moving forward. Lori, our new rock star at the chamber, is really great at being out and about, taking photos, and she's very digitally savvy, which is great. We needed someone like her. And so instead of spending, $20,000, $30,000 outsourcing, we're going to lower that to $12,000, and we're still going to keep their database, which is a great, clean visualization, both mobile and desktop friendly for our Instagram accounts, and plus anyone who hashtags Visit Union County, which we've had a lot of success for, we're able to send them a request. CrowdRift does it for us that says, can we legally use your photos in our artwork? And so then we're able to not just make our own content, but also have the community support us, and we can use that content because people like making content and they like to get their name out there, and it's a win-win for everyone. Next slide. So staff changes. Previously, we were at 3 different roles, and with the recent turnover this year, we boiled it down, and so now Lori and I are going to be sharing the responsibility of previously 3 staff with just 2. And I think with us going into digital, and with that, essentially the optimization of operations programming, where it's like, instead of having to manually type in our receipt information, instead we can go to a PDF and you can just Control F, find the invoice number, and spend 20 minutes flipping through physical papers to find the next thing. We also have updated our Google Drive, or created a Google Drive, which is, previously we had this comments folder with like 20 years of, or not 20, but like 10 years of old files that were not organized, and they were not, it took us 10 minutes just to find the right thing. And then we found after reading it, oh, it's not the right thing. We have to go find something else. So we've moved everything to Google Drive, which is going to optimize our workflow. And it makes it so everything is, searchable. It's indexable, meaning when we have to find something, we can find it just by searching the name or what we think, and then it will pop up. And then also it's great because it's shared amongst our board. So it's less touch points and there's more, online communication. If you have a question, look at the report. If you have a question, go to your Google Drive, you'll be able to find your answer there. And so we're lowering our staff budget from 34 to 26.
Yeah.
And that's it. Questions? Comments? Concerns? I think last year it was like 15-minute conversation.
Yeah.
So we got 45 minutes. I saw John yawn once. It's okay.
Had nothing to do with your
I
presentation.
know. I'm just I was literally my third day here.
It was his third day.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
a proposed budget, and then also attached to the chamber proposed budget as well.
When I looked at the website, I had a few suggestions for additions on the website that I'll just give you.
Sure.
Yeah, that's like, okay, how do you find this? I'd really like to see the calendar used more.
It's something
It's
that
like,
there's not much on there. We barely get any submitted, and it's a clunky system. And I remember talking to you about it, or in our last city hall 2 months ago. We're not getting much people submitting our information, and it's difficult. And I was literally like, what if we just had an intern position or something part-time where the person's job is specifically to just go and make sure that all the events in town are being put on our calendar event, because it's so time-consuming. And it's very difficult, and then sometimes we don't get all the events, and then there is work to be done there, and I absolutely agree. I think there needs to be something that is done with the calendar. There needs to be more.
because
There
there's
needs to be
nowhere
some
to
sort
go
of.
to
Yeah.
find
So,
all of.
Kind of a plug for you guys.
Mhm.
Lori was at the town hall last week. She talked a little bit about it, and just today she put out on on social media the submission timeframes for people to get stuff into
For
her,
Friday.
and she's going to push it out on.
Monday.
And she's putting our stuff in there as well.
Yeah.
So
She's
I
amazing.
don't know how sustainable it is. She's awesome. But
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure she's gonna get stolen. So because she's got some game.
She does. She has a doctorate as well. So I don't know how lucky we got, but yeah, she's on the team, and I'm hoping to keep her around. So
I'm not saying I'm not gonna try and poach her, but
coach me.
all right, you're on the
I can
list.
build your reports.
You guys are familiar with this neighborhood alerts thing?
The
Remember
neighborhood
how I get
alert.
signed up for this? Yeah.
The one with the green icon, neighborly or something.
I get emails about all kinds of things. It's town events. And I'm like, well, it's kind of cool. I don't remember signing up for it. It must have been somewhere along the lines.
It's
But
called neighborly or neighbor.
Neighborhood, isn't it?
it's called. It says LeGrand Alerts Neighborhood Alerts. It's alerts at neighborhoodalerts.com. So
Is it an email or does it come as
it's
a?
an email. It comes as an email, and I get it. I get it periodically. So it happens. It's kind of interesting. I get it if a neighbor buys or sells a property, like if the property goes up. So it's like anyway. It seems to track all sorts of legal notifications. I get it about events, and I'm like, that's kind of a slick thing. Again, I don't know how I got my email, but I've actually been grateful for it, and
Yeah.
I've thought like again some sort of unified platform where you can disseminate that, because we are not we don't have a centralized calendar
No.
very good at this
No, we used to
point.
have a
We
paper
don't.
that would have an
Yeah.
events calendar, and
And
that's
it's-
kind of gone out the
yeah,
window, and we
It's
haven't
like
had
the chamber
anything
it's naturally
take its
should be
place.
the
Yeah.
It's just hard to maintain,
Yeah.
and it's hard to get the information. Sometimes that's what I'm saying, there needs to be in not a revolving door, it needs to be us going and soliciting for information, because otherwise we don't get any events. And part of me is like, well, it just seems for our 2 people staff to be like, we're going to own all the events going in town. That's why it's like this conversation of, hey, if we hire someone just really specifically for events,
Actually,
but that's food for thought. Yeah.
Easter Seals offers up to 29 hours a week part-time paid reimbursed to your staff to pay for a part-timer. And there's a certain criteria in that has to be met. In the past, what do you call it?
Main Street.
Main Street has used it.
Yeah.
But I can send you the information on it. But bottom line is, I bet you get the help that you're looking for. There.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Well,
Main
it's-
Street used it several times.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. I guess we can ask that question. Is it the chamber's responsibility? I don't know whose it is, but we
Well,
need
I
to
think-
have some common source. The chamber is probably in
That
a
is-
nice
yeah.
position
That
to
has been
consider
talked
it.
about for years and
Right.
years and years. and
But I mean,
they
We've
didn't
talked
find
about it for years at the chamber
Yeah.
too, and it's grown and then it's shrunk and it's grown and it's shrunk, and but it's definitely an opportunity.
But I do think we need to keep coming back to the changing way that people receive and get information. You know, again, the newspaper, the television, like the old classic media formats are in decline. And
For a while.
the problem with
Gone.
digital media is, again, that it is so diverse. And so, like, I don't have a TikTok account. I don't have an Instagram account. I have Facebook. I have LinkedIn. So if it's on TikTok, Instagram, I never see it. You know, and that I think we're all like that. We dial in and we're getting ads that are projected to us. That omni-channel experience has to be there. I'm not sure how to do it, but we've got to have eyes on it. I didn't know when the last car show was here. I didn't know the last run we had. Seriously clueless about it. And then I'm learning in hindsight, oh, that happened last weekend? No idea. So, you know, when somebody like me who is engaging with the community every single day, 40 hours a week, I'm on this body and I don't have a clue when major events are happening in our community, there's a problem. I assure you that the majority of our community probably doesn't have a clue when these things are going on. But these are the revenue sources that drive
Community.
what you do and other areas in the community. And so we've got to somehow grapple with that, find a solution.
Let's talk about this
Yeah.
after. I'm willing
Sure.
to figure out a solution to help.
Yeah,
with it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've also think we were one of this conversation. It's a tough one, but radio ads as well, or radio calendar events, or like a weekly.
Yeah.
You know, here's all the things happening in Union County, and then we can partner with Elkhorn Media, and then Lori's social media post is one, and then the online calendar is another. Yeah, but let's
John, does our new app have push alerts?
circle
It
back.
does.
Right.
That's actually.
Maybe look at
We,
something
we
like
need
that.
we just need to get together and talk.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for a while. We just need to make it happen. But we've got some stuff that that I think you guys could absolutely we
Think
could
about
offer to you and
Cool.
be able to use as an additional tool.
it. Okay.
I have a question too. I mean, until we get this kind of figured out, a lot of us are all in different circles and so forth. And we find out different information and different activities and so forth. We can contact you and let you know once we hear something.
Yep.
And you might know it already, if not,
Mhm.
you know, but we can do our part, I think, as well as the council members, because
You
we're,
can go online.
until we figure
You
it
can
all
go
out.
to their site and.
Yeah, and just put it
There's a thing that
in.
says events.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
hard to do if
No.
you use it.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
problem
Getting
is it's
people
not
to
for
use
lack
it.
of having
No.
told people.
No.
It's just a matter of
Mhm.
people
Listen.
want it easy.
Yeah, because there's a lot of websites that I have. It's like around what's happening in Eastern Oregon,
Right.
and then there's a whole bunch of different websites,
Yeah.
and we could just search those, and that would be wonderful.
Resources.
So I have a couple of comments and a question. I was glad to hear about the continued work with EOVA, Eastern Oregon Visitors Association, and their visitors guide. Because I know from my experience, a lot of times folks want to go explore Eastern Oregon, and their initial thought is, well, that's Bend or Hood River. And so getting plugged in with EOVA so that at least when folks are thinking thinking Eastern Oregon, that LeGrand is
Yep.
sort of popping up in that mix, and
Yep.
you're reaching folks who might not originally be thinking LeGrand as a destination, and at least now you're part of that broader piece. My question is, have you engaged much in the last year, or do you plan to engage more with Eastern Oregon Visitors Association and/or Travel Oregon through some of their FAM tours, travel writers, some of the programs like that?
Well, there's nothing on Slate right now, but that's something that we could look into. Partnering with, and then what was it again? You said
So FAM tours and travel writers, they typically,
right. Okay.
Travel Oregon usually puts those together, and then Eastern Oregon coordinates like their regional leg of those FAM tours. It goes back kind of to the idea of the influencers, except these are generally either tour operators or they're travel writers for specific magazines or different trade sort of segments. So they might have like a outdoor recreation group of travel writers who write for various publications. And I found it, in my experience, that's been a really great way to, again, get the word out there to folks who may not be originally thinking of LeGrand or Union County.
Right, but they read a story or they hear
But
it.
then they read about you in, Outdoor Magazine. I think when I was in Baker, we partnered with Pink Bike, and so we looped Union County in, and I think they got some really great exposure from that, just having a national publication picking up that story. Most of that effort is, or at least cost-effective effort, is coordinated through Travel Oregon, EOVA, and they're always looking for local DMOs to partner with and help, take on pieces of that tour when those folks come through. So
Okay, yeah, it's something we look at, and I know that there's still some line items for print publications, and so
yeah, and that isn't really print because these might all be digital. These are
Yeah.
actually
Oh, they're just okay.
Sajid and I just talked about Pink Bike, I think, when we were writing the budget, but that's one that I've looked into for another organization that it's too expensive for that organization, but it would probably meet,
if you give
this
get
budget,
a
it's like
local
around-
travel writer that comes in as part of an EOVA, Eastern Oregon Outdoor Rec Fam Tour, who writes an article that pops
That's right.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and for everybody, like Pink Bike is a mountain bike specific global website based out of Seattle, I believe. But yeah, they have a lot of marketing options, and the podcast he
That's
was
right,
talking about
podcast,
was
yeah.
another option where it's actually there's only like 10 mountain bike podcasts in the United States, and
Oh, wow.
you reach a lot of
Wow.
mountain bike specific enthusiasts. I listen to 2 of them myself because I'm a nut. But yeah, I mean, there's bang for buck and things like that with Mira and what we have with 60 miles of non-motorized trails, and a lot of people don't know about it. So it's bang for buck on some of those things.
Road biking too.
Yep. And gravel's getting huge right now, and we have a pretty fantastic, area for gravel biking.
Yeah, that's something we can look into. Speaking of this too, there's a lot of hunting things that I was hoping to do, but at the same time I get a lot of feedback to say no, don't promote hunting.
Yeah, nobody wants
because this is our hunting.
You're gonna get that
And
back.
they don't know. They're like, no.
There's a lot of hunters that come here.
They
Oh,
just because they
yeah.
know, yeah,
You
exactly.
see them in Safeway.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It's
A
that
lot.
cost
Like
effectiveness,
shelter.
right? It's like, do we need to? No, it's because everyone already knows Eastern Oregon's the place to go to hunt.
And we don't want to
But
tell
biking-
them where their favorite
But-
fishing.
Yeah.
But
Tell
we
them where
can
the
learn
morels
about-
are and where the elk are.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No, but we could get them to a night or two in a hotel and
Absolutely.
buy food here.
What else? What about the hour mark?
Okay.
You know,
This.
I've asked for years, what's our version of Roundup? You know, I mean, this drives
A lot.
a lot.
It's a moneymaker. It really
And
is.
not only that, but it has put
More than
Pendleton on the map nationwide. I mean, I was talking to the guy from Florida the other day. Where are you from? LeGrand. Where's that? You know Pendleton? Oh, yeah, I know Pendleton.
Yeah.
I mean, people across the U.S. know Pendleton because of Roundup. They bring in, you look at the artists they land in there, all those sorts of things. I'm not suggesting we're going to get something like that, and that's created over decades. But
100 years.
There's
Right.
100 for
But-
More than that.
but I mean, at some level, I still don't feel like we have a signature event. We dabble. We have a little bit of this and a little bit of this, and and we don't have a signature event that really draws people here once a year. That anyway, I just
Yeah.
to throw that out there. It's still something that I would love to see happen.
I think one of the things that like the 5-10 year plan, right, which isn't presented in here, but the 10-year plan is there's the national archery scene that's happening. I'm sure you talked to the gentleman. That's a lot of money coming in, and it would be a 10-year
It's going
program.
to be, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal, yeah.
He's actually going to California this week
Ready.
to talk about that.
Yeah.
It's just he's cards close to chest for right now. So until he irons more of it out. But I was
There's
hesitating
something,
to bring it up. I think something.
Yeah, I love an idea like that. You know, you can get something and it's going to be niche, but hey, it's going to pull people in from different corners.
Families in.
And
they
yeah,
spend
that would be
money, yeah.
perfect. Something like that. Again, something that's ours that brings. But Squim has the Lavender Festival. Pendleton has Roundup. I mean, we could all name communities in the area that we have traveled hours to for
an
a
event.
specific event.
Well, the beer festival brought in so many people.
My
too.
problem with that is it's not family friendly.
No, it wasn't.
So you immediately exclude a huge
Oh.
proportion
Yeah.
of people who would attend that event. Because if you don't drink and you don't want your kids around that alcohol, then it's done.
Yeah.
So it's fine, call it a fun little gig, but you just created small market.
We are also taking over Thunder at the Peak, which brings in 1,500 to
I
2,000
don't know
people.
what Thunder at the Peak is.
Oh,
Golf.
Fireworks
there you
show.
go. It's a fireworks show
Yeah.
happening in Buffalo Peak. We'll see you there, July 4th.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be a fun experience. It's the 250th anniversary of the United States, so we're spending a little more on fireworks. That can potentially bring in, and I guess those are the lower app. I'm forgetting the lower.
Apple fruit.
Does somebody know what I'm saying? I'm trying to
Yeah,
get
the fruit, the hanging.
low hanging fruit. Low hanging fruit
Okay.
is like it's not really that, but it's it's something that we can do, and it's real, and it's happening this year, and that's going to bring in 15 to 2,000 people. I wish maybe in 10 years, right? 20,000. That'll be more than the population of Union County. The OSAA event, which is a tournament that's going to last 10 years. Potentially speaking, we could bring in 500 to 1,000 to maybe even 1,500.
The girls volleyball. How many,
The OSAA
Yeah.
girls volleyball tournament
how
in
many
10
did that
years.
bring
Thank
in?
you.
Did you?
Yeah.
Do you have a
Yeah.
number for that?
Sorry.
Yeah, he was there for it.
Yeah.
Do you have a number though for that?
No, it's very difficult to track. And the
Okay.
other problem was that this year, not problem, but the hurdle was that a lot of the state champions were from North Powder, from Embler, from all of our areas, and they don't have to stay at a hotel and they can
That's
just
true.
drive 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I mean, not to say that I want our teams to lose, but hopefully we get some people from the West Coast because they bring a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so I think, I don't know if it's ever going to be something like Pendleton, but I think small events like that are something that we could focus on. And then having that long-term vision of this national archery to own. And there's what's great about, Pendleton is that they kind of own that cowboy-esque, vibe over there. And so we do that, but we have a lot of arts and culture and like a lot of other things. And so I think, while we can't have one big massive event for now, having those small events until we have an idea. And, part of the problem is if we do have something like the Elgin Stampede, or that's what we have the
Yeah,
Elgin Stampede, right? And
yes.
so that is our event. And so it wouldn't be creating a new event specific to LeGrand, but it would be using the things that we already have in place and optimizing
Yeah,
them.
taking something like
and
that,
creating
ramping up.
partnerships.
Same with Ladmarsh Bird Festival. There's a lot of birds that spend a lot of money in this country. Can you expand that? Can you expand the Elgin Stampede? You're right. I mean, maybe you don't have to start from scratch. You can use something existing. We got a big agriculture footprint here. I realize I don't want to start a whole new discussion here, but as we look at this, it's something that I think should remain
10-year
top
plan.
of mind.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because one successful event like that could top the revenue of all of the other events combined easily
Absolutely.
within a year for a county like ours.
You just have to find the people who will run it. That's the hard part, is getting people involved in something like that.
And at that point, it would be like a year-long organization too, where
That's
they,
right,
they,
yeah.
they,
It's a-
they
it's-
don't
It's
seasonal.
full-time job.
really hard to get people
Yeah.
involved.
We got all the right people in the room right now.
Right.
Good
Yeah,
job.
well, no, that's good. I mean, from my perspective, not even as the chamber, that's from living elsewhere for 25 years and then moving back to LeGrand. And when I lived in Pendleton for 10 years, so that drive for tourism in Pendleton is is seeing, but it's also because of the infrastructure that is in Pendleton that we don't really have here. I mean, they have
An airport.
that arena, and their convention center is twice the size. Well, we don't have a convention center now, I guess. But I mean, they have, that's why they have a Harley Davidson rally, because they have the infrastructure to
That's right.
do it, and the hotel infrastructure. And
That's right.
I guess,
Mhm.
to the city council, it's like, I mean, the conversation should be, if we get that opportunity, how in the community do we build the infrastructure to support an
Something
event
like
like that makes it work?
I just got here in August, guys. Give me a little.
I know, I'm not putting it on you, but I mean, that
I've
was,
done a lot.
it
I
was
have.
the
I swear.
I think a great example of that as well is the OSAA event wouldn't have happened if we didn't get the Hilton. Because they need to have enclosed spacing for high school students.
Right.
They can't just be in a hotel with open doors, and that's the only one that had that enclosed space. And so that's a great example of we're now, because of this, we're able to do that. Just many hands in the pot, but absolutely having like a 5 to 10 year growth plan like that is something that we need to do.
Thanks for all your work.
Mhm.
You
I
got
like
it.
that you're
Nice
thinking
Any other
about it.
questions then? Or do you
Let me add
want-
another zero at the end of the budget then.
Yeah, it's in 10 years.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna adjourn the meeting.